the art of breathing. It is called pranayama.
Control of pulsations or regulation of pulsations?
Pulsations, we can call it a regularization of pulsations. Pranayama, regularization of pulsations. So this is what is called pranayama. The three types of breath we have described previously. This becomes the fourth step. This gives you the fitness for contemplation. The fourth step gives you the fitness or the vehicles for contemplation. The fifth step is what is called absorption. Absorption. That is, previously we have seen that the senses are traveling towards the objects of senses, and the mind is traveling towards the senses. Now the process is reversed. The mind travels towards the positive center. And the senses take an inward journey. This is achieved by the previous step, fourth step. When you practice the fourth step, the fifth step is also automatically achieved. That is observation of your respiration and utterance of Om. Here the steps are automatic, and you have to put in only a little effort. The fifth step is totally automatic with the fourth step. It is only to describe the various steps he has given here. What you have to do is only 1, 2, 3, 4. What happens is the fifth step. This is called pratyahara. This staging is called pratyahara. The sixth is meditation. So this is meditation. Closing the eyes is not meditation. Apply the above step. What you have to do is apply the above step to something prescribed by you, to the face of a friend, or a passage, or a sentence, or anything. You see?
No, it doesn't go in.
Pardon?
It doesn't go in.
Apply the previously achieved state.
Up to the absorption.
Up to the absorption, you have achieved by meditating and uttering Om, etc. Now, you prescribe a sentence to the mind from a scripture or a word spoken by somebody and apply the whole process to that sentence. You see? Then you will be able to apply in its real sense. But normally, when we are reading, our mind is exposed to the hearing, the sounds, this everything, and only 1/5 of the mind is being applied to something. Now you will make a total application towards anything prescribed by you. It is called meditation. When you specially apply the whole process to something prescribed by you, suppose you take a sentence of Bhagavad Gita or Jesus, and you apply the whole process to it, you will receive the meaning, the significance, the sound sense and all these things. Automatically you will be receiving them. Then you will be writing and doing some other activity also while applying this. So when you apply it, it is called meditation. You can apply it to an image, a picture, an idol, or an architecture, a color, anything. You make a special application to the exclusion of other things, to anything. Yeah?
Yeah, I'm trying.
It's not clear?
Yes, it's partly clear. I was trying to write it down.
Yes. Up to now, we have not made any special application to anyone we want.
Or anything.
Anything. We have followed the process.
Yeah.
And when you have completed the process,
You are able to do one thing, something,
something in the office or in the house or anywhere,
Practice.
you will be able to apply it
only that and nothing around it.
around it.
So you do it
You do it.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
That stage is called meditation.
I see.
You should practice it by applying it to either an image or a god or the name or a sentence, anything. So when you apply like this, it is called meditation. Applying it to something prescribed, that is what is defined.
So if we use meditation, if I may interrupt you, in the other way, like sitting in silence, actually we're trying to let fly away all the other occupations until our mind, I think, comes to rest, so that then, if some word or some picture comes, we can
No, you should prescribe. You should know something which is higher,
beforehand.
which leads you to the higher steps of total surrender and happy way of living and real living. You should select a passage from the Holy Scripture or any advice from anyone or any color, any light, anything. Select only one for life and apply it.
So you mean applying the three previous steps, not the previous 5 within the surrender,
Your state of
within the
awareness,
surrender.
the state of awareness which is made fit by the previous 4 steps.
Why is that?
There are
Are you referring to the steps under surrender, or are you referring to the whole lot?
no. We have come to the 5th step. There are the previous 4 steps.
Yeah.
Your awareness is made fit by the previous 4 steps.
Yes.
Then apply it to something which you prescribe. Now you should prescribe something for yourself, so that it may be applied to your job and your work also. Sorry, this is not meditation, this is This is called contemplation. The next is meditation. This is called contemplation. Contemplation, and it is called in Sanskrit dharana. Dharana. So when you make an application of the whole awareness to something which you prescribe, it is called contemplation. Yes, contemplation, because in Latin, templa means a square. Con means a circle. It is called the process of squaring up a circle. Contemplation. In old Latin, temple means square. Con means circle. Contemplation means making the square a circle. Pardon?
Nobody ever realized in the mathematical way.
Nobody could do it.
In the vital way, that is, life can be first squared up in its relationships with others, and then be made a perfect circle, and then a globe.
Supposed to round out the edges.
So it is a vital process, not a geometrical process.
I know.
It's a rounding out of the edge, of the sharpness.
Yes. So this is what is called contemplation. Next. Seventh step. It is meditation. Then what happens is, after some time, when your application stands through time, you see, you make an application, you prescribe something here and apply your awareness to that. If that stands to time, through hours, days and months,
Yes.
without getting the picture image getting shattered, then it is called meditation. That is, if through time it cannot be shattered, it's called meditation. From this state, the prophets and the masters give out sentences, and they become the religions through centuries, because they stand through time. Suppose Jesus has given a sentence. We are now meditating and repeating that sentence because it can stand through time. They give out from that stage of awareness. Then it begins to stand for centuries through the minds of the population. Daily will be, every economics professor will be having thousands of schemes in his mind. But Karl Marx had one scheme which lives now, because he could give it to us through that play. It is called creative play. Here these two levels are called creative levels of the creative will. The previous psychological levels are not creative, therefore thoughts come and go meditated. Here thoughts remain and become truths, and they are incarnated, they become flesh in us. That's the whole trouble with these fellows. They take our flesh. They come into the shape and they begin to live in us as our ideals, ideas and aspirations. Because they stand through time. Similarly, when your practice proposes something and that something stands through time, it is called meditation. And in Sanskrit it is called jhana. jhana. Next step, 8th step. When it stands through time and when you, the observer, disappear, then it is the next step.
Illumination.
It is called, I called it attainment. Because it has attained you.
Reach the goal.
Attainment.
Reach the goal.
Reach the goal. Even we get it, a sample of it while we are seeing the TV and pictures. We begin to see it. After a certain time we don't exist, it exists. So we are making the whole process regular and trying to get at a mastery of the process, that's all. So when you do not exist, it is called attainment, and in Sanskrit it is called samadhi. And finally, a simultaneous existence of your consciousness occurs in the 3 last steps. After a certain time, when you gain experience, you begin to exist in the last 3 steps simultaneously. That is actually called simultaneous existence of awareness. Simultaneous awareness, simultaneous existence of awareness in all the planes. That is the definition given to yoga by Master CVV. Master CVV has defined yoga as simultaneous existence of awareness in all the planes. So, there are 2 more classes. Tomorrow, I think, only 1 class, and
Tomorrow,
day after 2 classes. So, we have a syllabus, a subject for 2 classes, and exactly the contents of Patanjali will fit into 2 more classes now. Then you will be able to read for yourself the book of Patanjali and Yoga. So,
attainment is what is called advancement by Tibetan. Advancement under it.
this is advancement. What the Tibetan calls simultaneous existence. The triangle of simultaneous existence has been described last. That is, the last 3 states exist simultaneously in you when you practice the 8-fold yoga discipline. And the practice of the 8 steps should also be simultaneous. The first preliminary steps are also. They should not be practiced one after another. The 8 steps, it is a simultaneous process because it belongs to the various facets of our activity. The first 4 steps are called external training. The last 4 steps are called internal training. Because the first 4 steps belong to the use of the external organs, the mind, the breath. We exist separately from the implements we use. But when we cross the 4th step and enter the 5th step, the whole becomes one unit. The difference between the external and the internal will be dropped off from the mind. Therefore, it is called the action from within outside. And now, you are to apply the trained unit to what you call yoga living. Yoga practice has no end, is no end in itself. Yoga living is the object. That is what Patanjali says. It is to make your living significant, not to indulge in the practice and the doting or sleeping in the indulgence is not admitted by the yoga school of Patanjali and Bhagavad Gita. Now this simultaneous consciousness or awareness of the light I am is the process of 3 stages which we have seen. That is, at first you are serving as a screen of perception before training. Then during training, the screen is being fused into the ray of light. And in the realization, it becomes light, or one with the light. Because light of a lesser candle power is focused upon the light of a greater candle power. The 2 lights meet and there will be no more 2 lights, there is light. That is what happens. The next step, he says, is you have to apply it to the various bhumis. Bhumi in Sanskrit means planes of existence. These planes of consciousness should be applied to the planes of your existence. They are called the divisions and subdivisions of the lokas in Sanskrit. Loka means plane of existence. Suppose we are sleeping, another person is working in the room. The 2 are said to be in 2 different lokas or planes of existence. They are not differentiated in space, but they are differentiated in consciousness. These lokas are planes of existence. Now we have to apply to the various planes. There is a prescribed application or arbitrary application. 2 types. You can apply it to anything you want in your life. The other is the application as prescribed by the ancients. The prescribed application has 7 steps in it, 7-fold application. You have to apply to one step, one plane of consciousness for some time. And after you get familiarized with that, go to the second, then third, like that to the 7 planes. Then you will expand into the outer world, which we now call the outer world, and begin to work as a worker. Here the 7-fold application is given as an example. One, application to parts of the earth. This is mystically called in the scriptures as the geography of the islands and the mountains and the rivers. It has nothing to do with our geography.
Nothing with our
With our geography of the physical plane earth. We find this description in the form of the divisions of the earth, the mountains on the earth and the rivers on the earth. But we'll filter the mystical side of it and we'll take the scientific side of it now, because our time is short and we have to complete the course. I told you yesterday, take the North Pole of the earth and meditate it with your head center as the part of your head. Do it for some time. Immediately, within no time, the whole meditation stands through time, because you have achieved it. Samadhi is called achieving it. So when you apply it, it stands as an application of the correspondence. And all the consciousnesses that are working in the North Pole begin to work in your head. Because there is the relationship of the tree and the seed between the North Pole and your head. And then after about a few weeks, then you begin to meditate upon the South Pole and your base center, Mooladhara, correspond. All the forces that are working at the South Pole, they begin to work in your Mooladhara. Then take the equator. And meditate it in your heart center. Heart center is not exactly located where the physical heart exists. Please be careful. Heart center will be located at the cave, just below the cave of the ribs, where you find sensitive if you make a hit here. A man can be killed by giving a little blow here, if you know how to do it. Because the belts and the buckles between the physical layers and the other layers are held here. There are 7 buckles made by physical layers that cling to the etheric layers. In this physical body, as long as these buckles are having their pressure and press, and when they are loosened, we have to leave our physical body and take our departure. That is what happens a few hours before we leave our physical body gradually. We will be conscious, we will be looking to persons, listening to things. We cannot respond. People, relatives and children, they come and say, do you see me? We see them, but we can't say like this. So that is the center. It is called the cave. And it is represented by the mysterious glyph, the cave, where the lion lives. It is called the sign of the Leo. Sign of the lion. So, that is the heart center, not heart. Not the anatomical heart. You will know how the sensation is if you just make it like this once. All the life centers are touched. If you touch, give a violent touch to this place.
That's the thorax.
Yes, if you stroke, give a stroke, all the centers, vital centers will be touched. Normally just it goes like that, we are not conscious of it.
It's very close to the solar plexus, no?
Above, it is where the cage ends.
Yes.
Yeah, the thorax.
Yes.
The thorax.
Yes.
This is written in the spiritual astrology, Leo sign.
Yes, all these things. Under the Leo sign in spiritual astrology, I have given these things. And then, third meditation, meditate upon that center. And meditate upon the geometrical center of the earth globe. Under as the geometrical center of the ring of equator. Like that. And afterwards, gradually, you meditate upon the rod of spinal column as the axis of the earth. You can do it, take 1 week for this, 1 week for this, 1 week for this, and 1 week for this, like that. This is called the application to the parts of the earth. There are masters and devas and the intermediaries working on those parts of the earth. And the corresponding centers of consciousness in you, which are potential and which in future prepare you as one among them, gradually taking up the bigger and bigger work on the planetary scale. These seeds are made to germinate and function. They are existing, sleeping in us as potentialities, just as the seeds sleeping in a packet in the room of the gardener. The seeds are to be taken and placed in the soil properly. Then they begin to germinate. This is the first application, called the parts of the earth. Of course, mere knowledge of this begins to stimulate certain things in us. Therefore, this is kept secret, and it is not published, worked out as a worked out form in any books. And about the matter, we have a pledge of secrecy. That is, we should not speak much about this in the public. And if we attempt to speak, there will be automatically a wheel thrown upon our mind by nature, and we will be speaking some other thing except this. You can attempt. Pledge of secrecy means that does not mean you should keep it secret, but you cannot help keeping it a secret. You can try any number of times. And if you attempt to make it a book, you will write something about this, but you cannot reveal this. You can attempt and try and tell me after 1 year. This is called the living book. the sevenfold application, about which we find the 7 stanzas of the book of Jyan. And a commentary of these 7 stanzas is what we call the big volumes of the secret doctrine.
Yeah.
I will send the full set of secret doctrine as my own contribution to the IPS. So this is the first application. Second application. Application of the potentialities of the planetary planes. Potentialities of the planetary planes. It is like this. Meditate the sun. Sun. This is the symbol of the sun in astrology.
Now with the light it is, if it is dry, then it's better for us. If it is wet, it is like a mirror.
To reflect.
It's reflect.
Dry it with the rain.
I see. Then it's better. Thank you very much.
Okay?
Yes.
Yes. It is the sign of the sun
Yeah.
in astrology
Yes.
and spiritual sciences. Equate it with the I am in you. Meditate the sun of the solar system as the correspondence of the I am in you. After 1 week, meditate the moon, the satellite of our earth, as your mind. Meditate the planet Mercury going around the sun as your own intellect working. The planet Jupiter going around the sun as the wisdom in you, that is the wisdom of the scriptures and the wisdom of yoga. Now you will understand the difference between intellect and wisdom. It cannot be explained, but you will be able to understand. The difference between intellect and wisdom cannot be easily explained. Jupiter, then you take Mars, the planet Mars going around the sun, as courage in you. After a week, take the Venus.
This is the 6th week.
Yes, like that. As the love nature in you, love,
Oh, the love.
that is, understand love has nothing to do with the polarity of sex. That's different.
Yes.
You have to understand love as the creative work in forms. That is why the sex act also has the reproductive aspect, to produce a child and preserve the form. And then Saturn as take it in quotations catchword. Wait and see.
Wait and see.
These are the 7 correspondences which are called the common correspondences. The uncommon correspondences are meditate upon the planet Uranus or Herschel. Not visible?
Not very, yes, no, not this I can see.
Also, the
Understand that these were just now, these are the common correspondences.
Yes,
Just
pardon?
now. These are the common correspondences.
It is, this is common to all.
Yes. And now?
This is the uncommon correspondence. That is, uncommon means not all people are ready.
Oh, yes.
These 7 work in everyone.
Yes.
The next one, Uranus, corresponding to with the awareness in you. Your awareness. Then Neptune. As the mystery in you. That means the drama of the activity of the world. We see the activity of the world in disaster, but you have to meditate the activity of the whole drama, a whole world as a big drama going on. That is what is called mystery. It has a sequence, and gradually you will begin to enter into the sequence, know your role as an actor, and you will begin to enter. So it is called the mystery. Mystery does not mean anything indefinite, but a sequence like a drama. So you have to understand the whole world and the activity of every being as a big drama. That is called the mystery. A training, practical training into this is being done in the scientific mystery temples.
But the world in connection with this means just the planetary, the Earth?
No. Yeah,
The
to the basest levels of the individuals. All the biological kingdom, including the human being on this earth, down from the lowest actions of every individual to the highest, put together is a drama. And the drama is called a mystery play.
Is there, we had just the Saturn, this was the 7th week. Is this a continuation?
Yes, continuation.
Okay.
And then finally you have the planet Pluto. Not visible?
Yes, thank you.
Planet Pluto has destruction. But understand destruction as sublimation.
destruction, not distraction.
Destruction, destroy, to destroy. That means to sublimate the grosser levels into the finer levels. It is also called the removal of the tree and the retaining of the seed. In the scriptures it is called the removal of the tree and the retaining of the seed. And then the third application. 2 are covered among the 7. We are going to the third one. Just tablet on your book. They will germinate in you gradually. Because when once we begin to know of it, they do not keep quiet inside. Even though we throw the book away and